Good morning, everybody, and a warm welcome. I am really looking forward to doing this show. So it's our first look at the one-day special today. We are talking a machine that, I mean, as machines go, is exceptional. And we're going to get to this in one moment, but I just want to introduce you to my partner in crime. It is the legend that is John Lockwood. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Very, very well. I wish we had a camera for our production meeting, because John was talking so passionately about this machine. It is a very, very good machine. I realise a lot of viewers might have die-cutting machines, and there are a lot of die-cutting machines on the market. Firstly, can I just say, John would not stand here, and I know John, I've worked with John for a number of years, you absolutely would not stand here and endorse a die-cutting machine unless you loved it.
Yeah, I have never endorsed a die-cutting machine, and the important things I always say on this one is, this is not a John Next Door machine. This is not a Crafts 2 machine.
Yeah.
I'm not doing this because it's part of my contract or anything else. I'm doing this machine because I've had these and I've used this for over 2.5 years as my main machine.
That's a big statement in the say, because you could have used any machine.
Yeah, and I've got hundreds of them because I have to test dies in lots of them.
Okay.
This is the machine that I will use, and if you've watched me on shows, you'll have watched me for at least 2 years use this actual very machine, because I insisted on using mine, not the posh brand new one over there that we've got. So I wanted to use mine. I bought this. Yeah. I have a second one at home.
You can see it's well travelled.
Yes,
got some
it is.
scuff.
This goes everywhere. I have a second one at home, which is exactly the same, which is the one I use as my main machine alongside my Kaleido. Yeah. And I bought this with my money, no trade account, no deals, and I paid more for this, as we were saying this morning, than it's on here at.
It's a great price.
That was 2 years ago.
We've got the flexi payments as well.
Yeah, which I had to pay. I literally had to go into a shop and hand out money straight away. Yeah. And I actually, we were saying this morning, you reminded me, I got mine on a Black Friday deal.
Oh, wow. And we've got it less on the show.
And you've got it less on the show. So I actually got something off it then. You know, I'm doing this show for the craft store because they knew I was using this machine. They sourced it and said, would you present this machine? So this and the Kaleido are the only two machines that I have ever endorsed or recommended. Wow. And you know me, I won't do that.
No, you really won't.
Unless it works.
And I promise you, it absolutely does work. We're going to get into that in just a moment. Can I just say, here at the Craft Store, we're proud to say we have got an exclusive as well. Take a look at this. So this is your beautiful pink edition Go Power and Emboss. So I've got to tell you, a third of the stock has gone. Can we just talk about, because I'm really conscious of the fact you might have a die cutting machine at home. So let's speak about that, because you might have a manual machine and thinking of going for an electric. The beauty with this machine, and this is a really important point, is you're not just restricted to a certain size of die. It will take your deep steel rule dies, so your bigs, but it will also, well, actually, John, you were telling me it takes, you've tested this, and it takes any die.
It takes every die that has come out. There was only one exclusion, which was that Sizzix did some 12 by 12 dies years ago, which are like hen's teeth. You can't get them. Obviously, they're not going to fit through, but every other die, I want to grab here, every other die that you have got will work in this. So if you've got dies at home, like me, like these big ones that I haven't used in years, dies like this that I bought, it's even still got the price on it. It was very expensive. Okay. This has never been cut.
Flash me the price. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
This has never been out of the packaging or used. Right. And the simple reason is I didn't have a die cutting machine that could use it. So I'm taking, I know how much this was, so let's take, there is nearly £80 worth of dies.
It's never been used.
That I've not been able, that one's never ever even been out of the packet, that I've not been able to use because I can't get them through. But this, which you probably will never have seen, this is the original die. Oh. This is one of the very first.
John, that's going to be worth some money in time.
This is 19 years old and belongs to Paola.
Okay.
So, but it will even cut this. Wow. So basically, along with all your beautiful, and I'm going to go mine, but your fine detailed John Next Door dies, you know, I have mine made finer than anyone. Yeah. That's one of the dies you get the set. So your thin dies, your mid dies, your, keep turning around, sorry, but things like, you remember the quick cuts dies of years ago?
Yeah.
Your originals dies that went in the red machines, these are Haley's Mocha Block dies.
Oh, yeah.
The deep dish thick fabric dies. Your thin dies, your bigs dies, even up to, this is some of my favourites. I spent a lot of money on these and couldn't use them. Things like this is a Tim Holtz alphabet die.
That's big.
Yeah. Full size A4 bigs dies for cutting fabric and making patchwork.
Wow, goes through.
Every single die. This is a Anna Griffin die from about 7 or 8 years ago. Again, thicker than normal.
I mean, this is really important, the fact that it takes every die, whether it is a big, thick die or a thin die, it will take it. John, this is what I'd be thinking as a crafter. Things, and it's a small point, but I want to go through this. Now, this is your machine. I think it's worth showing everybody your plates, because I've seen electric machines in the past, and some electric machines, I won't mention brands or names or anything like that, but some electric machines, they tend to warp the plate. So how long have you had those plates
These
for?
plates I've had for 2 years at least.
2 years?
This is the set that I've had with this machine. You can see here.
You've had those plates for 2 years?
2 years, yeah.
How are they so straight?
Because I use them correctly, but also because they don't bend. They're not designed to.
I've seen something like that really
when we, for putting this show together, which was like months, because it's taken 3 months to get them, for them to chug across the ocean, I think, we asked about getting hold of more of the C plates and more of the spare plates, and they could only let, I know Buying have, a few.
Okay.
Because they don't particularly stock them.
Because they don't need it.
Because they don't need to.
You're saying
so they're not looking to try and make money out of selling you extra plates every 3 to 6 months.
What?
But I mean,
so you've got the metal
funny
shim
thing
there,
is,
John. You've got the metal shim.
Yep.
Just run your hand over it.
Okay. I love doing this. Don't do this at home, please.
Okay. Now that's
It's
really important.
chamfered edges.
Do you know we had? So this again, as crafters, you would have heard the stories. We had a guest on. I was working with her, I won't mention her name, using a certain brand of machine, and she actually live on the show sliced her finger because the metal shim was sharp. So look, it's a small point. I'm not saying you're going to buy the machine just because of that, but it shows the quality that you're getting with the machine. The fact that the plates don't bend, the fact that you're not going to be cutting yourself on the metal. Now, we are busy for this machine. I'm really pleased we are, because what this machine will do, and I want to speak to you, and the difference between an electric machine, I'm not knocking handle crank machines, because we've all got them, and there is a place for them. But with electric machines, they do take the work out of it, but also those dies, because of the pressure you're getting here, effectively, this is going to future-proof you. And I'll tell you why. John, as a designer, and I think I'm right in saying this, John, you're never going to get any more detailed dies than the dies you design, that you hand draw.
I've said this on many shows, and I think people think, you know, you say it for effect. But there is, I was talking to Paola last night, there's an instruction you get from the manufacturers of dies telling you how close lines can be together, how close dots can be. And basically, 2 lines can't be closer than 3 mil together. Okay. I have dies now that are 1 millimetre apart. Wow. You've seen some of the detailed dies I've done for this Christmas. Certainly, and again, if you tune in on Friday, I've got a new limited edition Christmas launching. Nice. But some of the lines on that are actually 1 millimetre. They are super fine in one of the frames. And I can't do that, and I can't design to that level and push the manufacturers to make it if I haven't got a machine that's going to cut it. And that is the difference. So I have the full confidence. So as I said earlier, I can go to...
This is impressive.
You can probably see this better on the overhead, to be honest. That is mount board. Yeah. It's not grey board. No. This is mount board that you mount pictures with, So it's cut that, okay? Right. It's then cut... This is one of the bicycle dies you get free with it. This is 300 GSM coated craft card. Yeah. Look at the detail, and I cut all of these were cut live last night, so they've not been prepped. That is one of my snowflakes from the Advent Pop Box, cut in vellum.
So we've got, okay. So that's vellum again, traditionally very hard to cut.
Yeah, literally, that's so thin. So to have that ability in one machine is absolutely amazing to me, and it means that I can use every die, because I never like to pretend. We buy from everywhere. You know, I'm a terrible hoarder. I have 2 hobbies, crafting and hoarding craft supplies. But I can able to go through and use dies I've had for years that I've not been able to use because they don't match with that machine, because I need to move to an electronic and they don't fit in. Everything works, and I can happily stand here on air, and legally I can't say that if it's not true.
Well, no, it's so true. That's a really good point. Legally, he can't. And look, it's a machine that John has. He bought it himself. He bought 4 for his workshops, when he does workshops. All I will say to you, it's a machine, now we don't have to switch. So you don't have to use one machine. Oh, it's got my a large Biggs die. Now Thinlet die, I'm going to change, mixed media. I mean, for me, the real crux of this is, if you are sat at home, if you have a machine that you've had for years, and obviously technology, if you imagine, if you have a machine for 10, 15 years, maybe a hand crank machine, saying, well, it does the job, it's how easy is it to do that job? And do you have any dies that you've stopped using? And we've been there, I've seen it working here, where it's a die that is very intricate, and dies are only going to get more and more and more intricate, seeing what John's bringing out. So you got those dies that you've used once, you're like, oh, I don't want to do it, because you're running it through time and time again, and you've kind of given up. The power you get with this machine, suddenly all those dies you struggled with, you're going to start using. It is and I'm really conscious of the fact, I know we're shopping TV, and obviously you're going to think we're enthusiastic about this, but there are points where you forget our enthusiasm. It's just the facts speak for themselves. The quality of the machine, the plates that they're not bending, you can see that all the different mediums that we're cutting. And I think the best way we are going to do that, I'll just very quickly get rid of some housekeeping. The difference with the craft store. This is your monthly mega deal. We have got an exclusive machine here because you will not be able to get the pink in any other distributor, any other company. This is the only place you will ever be able to get this option. So if you do want, you're right now rather, if you do want to get hold of this, you've got 3 flexi payments of £46.66. Interest-free, so today, £46.66. We not only send you the phenomenal Go Power and Emboss, but we're also going to give you all the plates that you need as well. You're going to get all the dies. I think it was 33 dies? 30, apologies. 30 dies, and you're going to get 2 embossing folders. So all of that comes as a bundle, which means effectively the minute you get this home, you're going to start playing. Was it you, John? I'm really tentative to tell this story. I'm pretty sure it was you. Was it you that you got a die cutting machine as a present, but then you had nothing to cut?
Yes.
I'm so glad that was you. That would be really awkward if you're like, yes. Actually, that's not me.
And I was in Spain at the time. I got my first one. And basically, I had the machine, I had an embossing folder. My friend had bought me card to go with it, but hadn't thought to buy me any dies. So I spent all of Christmas Day turning a handle. But the funny lead on from that story is that was my first die cutting machine, and I went mad on dies. Yeah. Within 6 months, I'd upgraded to an A4 machine.
Oh, really?
I got hold of it and loved it that much and realised I wanted to be able to cut more. Yeah. I wanted to be able to cut bigger dies. I wanted to be able to make some of the bigger projects rather than putting pieces together. So, yes, that started me off, but within 6 months, and I almost felt like it was a bit of a false economy starting with a smaller machine.
Well, look, the thing is, with a larger machine, you can always do smaller dies, but if you've got a smaller machine, you are restricted. And I want to point out, and this is such an important point that John was saying, barring the 12 by 12s, when were they released?
Oh, it's years ago, and it was for a massive 12 by 12 machine, which of course I had. I mean, I can honestly say this. I have had or have tested every machine on the market. I am a die cutter, and I am also very, very dull and very, very boring.
But you like them. You like the.
I love the whole process. I love the mechanics. I have to know why. So it was the size of this table.
What?
Okay. It was a 12 by 12 machine with a deep dish. I had it shipped over to me in Spain. It cost me over €400 for the 12 by 12. But I have had that, and I mean, the only person I know who's actually got any of those big dies anymore is Paola. Okay. That's it. She's got a collection of them, just in case she ever decides to do it again. I don't know. But I have had every machine on the market, or I've tested every machine. So I've either bought it or I've been in a store and I've demoed it for a day to test every single one. Well, and that's the one I put my money on. And that's such a bit, look, from John, that is a massive statement. And John would only say that if he 100% felt it. Just the point, and we're going to start playing with it now, but the point I want to make, any die that you have right now will fit in this, because barring those 12 by 12s, it takes any die. So your thin dies, your deep dish dies, it will take it. I think it's about time we see it in action. Yeah. Oh, I've got to stress, by the way,
This is going to be a monthly mega deal. A third of our stock's gone, and once it's gone, that is it, because we've had a certain amount made and shipped to us. If you want to get hold of the pink edition, and this is the only place where you can get hold of this machine, is the craft store. Once it's gone, it has gone. Just going to give you a very quick update on the gold option as well. We're approaching 30% of the stock for the gold option. So the only difference, exact same machine, it's really just the design, the livery of this band, so either the gold or the pink. But, I mean, I say it's only that. It's a nice aesthetic. So if you want it to fit
well, it fits in your craft room. I mean, you know, I certainly won't. I've got gold ones. I'm not going to get a pink one. But if they did a blue one, I probably would. But then that's me and blue, basically. Now,
we've had a question in.
Yeah.
So what plates are included?
Right. So you get your plates. You get, first of all, you can see, when this was available last time, I was able to get a new one.
Okay.
Because basically, I dropped my one at home and it had separated a bit underneath.
Oh, okay.
But I didn't use the new plates. I kept using my old plates from my original 2-year-old one.
Right, okay.
So these are actually the new plates that I got with it, but I'm not going to use them. I'll save these for best.
Yeah, yeah.
So a plate, which is your thick base plate. So this effectively almost replaces what your big die would be.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is what means that it's got this wide opening, which means, don't forget, you can also get all your foiling machines through this. So if you have got any of the foiling machine, you know, the old style foiling machines, not the new Kaleido style, they will fit through.
Nice.
So everything goes through. So you get your A plate, you get a B plate,
right?
You get a C plate, you get the metal shim, the safe metal shim, and you get the thick embossing mat.
Everything you need.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, Lorraine has asked which plates would she need to use for the Sizzix.
Right, so for a big style, let's grab one, shall we?
Should we cut something out? Let's cut something out.
Shall we cut? We'll cut something detailed. We'll cut one of my old favourites.
Right.
Okay. So here we go. Now I'm going to use, I'm not going to use some mount board on this. I can do. I'm going to use, this is 350 GSM card.
Okay.
I didn't want to make this easy for myself because I know when I watch and they'll go, you know what I mean, oh yeah, and I'm using normal card, and I'm thinking, yeah,
you doubled that up, so it's 700.
I've doubled this up, so this is 700.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so here I've got the C plate. Now, to cut a big die, you need a second C plate.
Okay.
So, but I don't know if we've got those or if they're not available, but I'm going to show you an option instead. So all you do is literally put it into there until it engages or until it can't go any further, and you press run.
Yeah, and that's it.
There's no sensors.
Yeah.
Run just runs.
And you know, it's good, no sensors to go wrong.
So you don't have to engage it to anything. You don't have to get little things that hang down.
Yeah.
One of the machines I tested had little hooks that hung down, and you had to basically hit those. So there is. So I needed a little bit more pressure on this. So I'll show you on the second time how I'd do it to get that second one through. So there's my clock.
Right.
Okay, cut through. Here's my little hands and everything else. Yeah?
Yeah.
Right, so you need 2 Cs. But if you don't have a second C, you can use a 3mm plate from anything.
Oh, okay.
So if you've got, say, the raspberry plate from the Grand Caliber, or from the tonic tangerine, you can use that. If you have a 3mm plate that comes with some of the other machines, they come on some of the Sizzix ones and things like that, you can use that. But also, if you've got the 2 machines I use all the time are my Go Power and Emboss and my Kaleido.
Yeah.
My Kaleido is my desktop one, used all the time.
And the Kaleido plates go through there?
The Kaleido plates fit through.
Yeah.
Because it's a standard sizing. So this is a 3mm Kaleido plate, but can you see the difference? I've not covered all that space.
Yeah.
With a normal electric die cutting machine, you have to cover all of the A4 space, or I would have to go that way to hit the sensors.
Yeah.
This doesn't have them, so I can go like that.
Okay.
So, look. So to cut a big die, all you need to do is use your 3mm plate you get with it, and then another 3mm plate.
Yeah.
So you can use your Kaleido plates if you've got the Kaleido. But actually, can you see that's cut better? Because it's had higher pressure for a lower, smaller plate.
And it cuts,
And
look, that's 700 GSM.
That's
you just cut
700
through.
GSM. But what you've got is, if I wanted to increase the quantity of this, this is why everything's included. If I want it to cut better, or I need to cut more, add my metal shim in, put that in again. We'll get another piece of my 350. Do that, yeah. I'm going to put that one on top.
Right.
Same again. But I don't have to worry about that being loose.
Yeah.
You don't have to make sure that's all in the sandwich because it's not sharp. Because I've cut myself. And I was talking to Hayley last night. You craft yourself silly. She's cut herself.
Well, say, we had a guest live on air, sliced her finger badly.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a real thing. There was talk we would have to finish the show early.
See that? Look. So the first two didn't cut both of them.
Right.
Adding the metal shim in is the perfect width to cut both of them.
Nice.
And both of the little bits. So that's the flexibility. Yeah. But the cleverest thing to me is if you've got the Kaleido, and you know, I'm going to stand here and recommend that, you know, that is my dream A5 machine because of the foiling and all the techniques it does. But what you can actually do is you can use. So let's grab 350 card again.
Well, this to me, if you think about as a crafter, your setup, you might have the Kaleido right now, but adding the machine into your, so the Go Power and Emboss into your arsenal, all of a sudden now you can tackle anything. And that, I really mean anything, barring, we were saying those 12 by 12 dies that were released back in the day. I mean, you might not have even been aware that was the case, because obviously it's an A4 machines that will take the larger dies. I've never personally done a show here where we've had die sets larger than A4. So any die that you have in your stash, barring the 12 by 12, any die this will take. It doesn't matter if they're deep dish or if they're thin dies, it will take them, so you're not having to change. So this could be your workhorse. You've got your Kaleido as well that you can take on the go, you can do your foiling. That, to me, John, ultimate setup.
It is. That's the setup that I have.
Yeah.
And the fantastic thing is, and I discovered this when I was playing at the weekend. Okay. So here's my Kaleido plates.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So I want this to be speedy. But I don't feel I can, you know, it's one of those dies that I really, because there's a lot of detail in both of these, you really have to crank.
Yeah, and then come back and do it again.
But what I can do is take my Kaleido plates, and again, with any other machine, they'd have to be as wide as this, look.
To get the sensors.
To get the sensors. These don't, I can go there, or I can go there like that, and halve the time it takes to cut those, because my Kaleido plates fit through.
Yeah, perfect.
So I'm not having to go, oh yeah, make sure, because it's standard. Instead of designing a machine, and I probably sound like I'm sort of pontificating, but it's just because how much I like it. Instead of designing a machine to sell plates, or to sell their dies, or to be unique to them, they built a machine that works for everything and everyone. And as a crafter, that's what I want.
Sure, I never even thought about it that. I've kind of had like that eureka moment. I never thought of it that way. So machines designed as a tool to sell the dies or sell the plates. So this machine is
designed to be used
as a die cutting machine.
It's a die cutting machine designed to meet all the dies you've got at home. There's no point I'd never understood it. I don't pretend. It's like when the Angels make samples for me, they don't have a rule about only using John Next Door or Crafts 2 products.
Yeah.
They use everything because we do as crafters. Of
course we do.
And that's what I like about this. So see here, that one's cut through perfectly. Yeah. This one, it's 350 GSM.
Right.
Okay, so you get this quite a bit. It hasn't.
Right.
Because I've not made it easy. So I can slot the die back on, make sure I get it in the right place. You do it by feel.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is, I did promise I'd give some basic tips. So all I have to do, and this is what I love about, because it's got the wider mouth, you can really shim it.
Yeah.
So I'm shimming that piece of card there.
Nice.
I've put it right in the corner because, again, no matter who sold you your machine and demoed it, if they tell you it's got as much tension in the middle and always will have as the sides, it's not right.
Right.
The laws of physics say that's not possible.
Yeah.
You've got two rollers, that are held at either side. Yeah, and as you put things through, is it going to stay tight to where it's held or in the middle where it can move slightly?
Of course,
they don't.
Held, yeah.
So you've got to know your machine, and that's why I think, so there, I've shimmed that, and now that will come out. But it hasn't harmed, I didn't put it exactly in the right place, so I'll do it fresh.
Okay.
But it hasn't harmed the machine at all.
Perfect.
Because of the width and the way they work through.
Okay. I had a question, just while we do that one again then. I had a question from Sheila. Thank you, Sheila, for getting in touch, by the way. So Sheila was saying if she wanted to cut her A4 Sizzix dies, how would she use the machine?
Right, so what you would do for that, Sheila, I've got an A4 Sizzix die, so I can show you.
Perfect.
I brought basically, I'd love to say I brought my complete collection. I didn't.
Yeah.
I brought a small selection from what is a very big collection.
Fair enough.
Again, I've got a demonstrator friend that I've worked with for a long time who, when she switched to the Grand Caliber, got rid of all of her big dies because she couldn't see that she was going to be able to use them again in the future. And basically, what happened was then these started to come out. She's now intending to buy herself one of these.
Nice. That's good to hear.
But she's already got rid of all of her bigger dies.
Ah, okay.
So it's a case of she's going to have to buy them again.
Oh, see, that's a shame.
So.
But you might have been in that position. That's a real shame for her. She got rid of the larger dies because she just weren't able to use them.
But just to show you, that
please do.
cuts. And I shimmed that, and I used tiny little plates.
Yeah.
I would just use the metal shim.
So then we can go from that size to our A4.
Yeah. If you've got an A4 one, do you know what? Shall I really challenge it? I'm going to use the double-sided glitter card.
Okay.
One of the reasons I put the double-sided glitter card on the show is because this is one of the hardest materials to die cut.
Yeah.
You have to have it the right way.
Okay.
And it basically, with a normal die, it has to cut onto a metal shim. So I'll show that a little bit later. But all I need to do is to take my C plate for the bottom. Yeah. And then my C plate for the top. And if you haven't or can't get another C plate,
you're saying just to make sure it's a 3mm plate.
What I would actually do is I would ask the lovely Maddie if she could have a look in there's a box of spare plates around the side.
Yeah.
In fact, I might run off in a minute if no one's looking. And I'll see if I can find the purple, the sort of raspberry plate in there. And I'll show you, because you can use, and I'd hate to say, what I don't like is when the people turn around and go, you've got to have this plate from this company. You know, if you can't get the C plate, and they aren't available at the moment, I don't think, but can you see there, that's double-sided glitter card.
Yeah, look at that. John, that's really impressive.
I think you should just bring me the entire box, really, Maddie.
Come on in,
Or
Maddie,
just
come
pass
on.
it in.
There we go, bless you. So we're just going to hand you on that box.
Thank you. I'm going to have a hunt through this, but you will have something at home.
Okay.
Let's put it on the back. See, I just break every rule. Go, Amy.
I'll let John have a rifle through. But look, just while we do that, it gives us an opportunity, because we are very busy for this machine. Things I want to point out, we cannot get hold of any more. So when this sells out, and it looks like it will at some point be selling out before the end of the month, because it is the monthly mega deal. And think about that, as a monthly mega deal, we thought we had an awful lot of stock. We did have an awful lot of stock, but obviously it's going. Over a third of the stock has gone, and this is exclusive to the craft store. So this colorway in the pink, exclusive, you cannot get hold of this anywhere else. But as a machine, have you maybe thought about, you might have a traditional hand crank machine, die cut machine, which you love, but it's maybe seen better days. Are you starting to struggle with dies? Can it only tackle maybe a certain type of die? Is it a smaller machine? So with this, A4 means that it will tackle pretty much any die you have in your stash. We're just covering ourselves by saying there's only one die it won't take, is a 12 by 12, but very few people have that die set. I've certainly never seen that size here at the craft store. So size-wise, it tackles everything, but not only just the actual physical size, but the depth too, and this is really important. Look at that wide mouth, which means that we're not here with an electric machine saying you can only put thin dies through this. You can put any die, so you can put your Sizzix dies, you can put those big dies, Sizzix, you can put your thinlets through there. Any die will go through this machine. It's giving you that pressure, but it's the small points. And the first thing I said when doing the show to John, and apologies, just sound like I'm repeating myself, but it's the attention to detail. And I would not, genuinely, and I had to ask John this because I really wouldn't have felt comfortable presenting this show and offering a machine with a metal shim that cut people. And only saying that, I did a show recently with a guest who had another machine, and she really did slice her hand quite badly with the metal shim. And I've heard this from a lot of people, not this, can I say, not this machine, it was a different brand, but with your metal shim, and I'm just running my hand there, it will not cut you. So that metal shim would not cut you. You're getting all your plates in the mix as well, your embossing mat, you're getting 30 dies and your embossing folders. You're saving £10, and not only that, you've got 3 flexi payments of £46.66. So today, £46.66. We send everything out to you, and you can spread the costs over 3 months. But ultimately, it's a machine that will last. Oh, can I say, just going back to the plates, John's had his machine for two and a half years?
Yeah, we actually found out, I bought it in March of 2 years ago.
Oh, okay.
So it's about 2 years, 5 months. I was able to talk to somebody yesterday, went, when did so-and-so happen? He went, March. I said, right, that's when I bought it then, because I know what triggered me to buy one and try
Show
it.
everyone again just your plates, your plates. I was amazed
my plate.
how
so
straight
there is my base plate. Can you see there's no longer an A written on it?
Okay.
Basically, because I've used it that much, it's wiped off.
Enough.
There's my C.
Yeah.
Let's find it. There's my B. There is my metal shim. And there is my embossing mat, because I so rarely use that. It's virtually brand new, because I don't emboss dies in the machine because I don't need to. I get that level. But this is basically, let's put that how I would do it. That is my sandwich, and that has been used, and I don't bring a spare.
Yeah.
I bring this with me in my case, which is there. It's put in on its side. It lives like that, because it won't fit in lengthways. And that has come with me down the A1 on every trip for the last 2 years, and I've used it on every single show.
I mean, you don't treat it with kid gloves, your machine. You can see that it's been well loved.
Atrociously.
But it shows, and that's a good point.
It's a tool.
But the amount you use that machine, and the fact that those plates, and I know it's such a small point, but the fact that the plates haven't bent, it shows, to me, that shows the quality that you're getting here, because it's that attention to detail. If the plates are made to that kind of level, then it shows everything is designed to work and last.
I mean, if I put this on a colour, can you see here where it's actually cracked on the sides? There's actual gaps. I can get my nail in to these on the side, This is how much use this plate has had, but look at that. There's hardly any warping. I haven't had to replace it.
It's impressive. Okay, so what else are we going to do then?
Right, so what I'm going to do now is I will show you a simple die in a minute, but I did want to sort of properly and fairly answer the lady's question. So I've got 2 layers of fabric here, because fabric's perfect on the big dies. This is the raspberry plate from Spellbinders, you know. So I don't have a C, so I'm going to use the raspberry plate.
Okay.
And if it's not right, the machine will reject it. All the lights will flash and it will reverse back out.
Oh, perfect.
Now, I'm not saying this never happens, but I have never had it in any of my machines. That includes all the ones that get hammered in workshops, which haven't been for the last 18 months or so. But I have never had a plate get stuck. It's always rejected and reversed back.
Excellent.
So that's using the platinum. So again, you can use that one. Yeah. Here I've got, this is slightly thicker, so this might reject. This is from the tangerine.
Okay.
So let's just grab a piece of...
I mean, John, it's a big statement, the fact that not only did you buy your machine, so John just bought it himself, he wasn't gifted it or anything like that, but also then you went on to buy, what was it, 4 or 5 machines for your workshops as well?
I actually have. So that, look, that's 2, let's see, watch. just comes straight out. Yeah?
Perfect.
So that's too thick. Here is a random 3mm plate from the box.
Yeah.
Yeah? So this is from, behind me there is a lovely, attractive My Buddy box.
Yeah.
Full of random plates that are kept behind the scenes here in case anyone breaks any. So that's just a random plate, 3mm. Could be any make. Could literally be any make. And what I wanted to show you is that you don't have to have, if you've got the big stars, if you can't get a C plate, don't think you've got to get a C plate.
Yeah.
You need a 3mm plate.
Yeah.
That's all you need.
Perfect.
So there, random plate from the thing, done. And you watched when that one, the tangerine one, was too thick.
Perfect,
so it refused it.
John, anyone watching right now, maybe sitting on the fence, what was it for you that made you take the leap going from maybe a hand crank to an electric machine and to choose this machine in particular? Because you chose this machine. Even before you were here selling. Yeah. Yeah,
I chose this machine. I personally, my view on die cutting, you need to have, to be honest, what works for me is two machines. And I have a manual A5 machine, which I use the Kaleido for. I can use that for the foiling, the techniques, and also to be quick. Yeah. I didn't realise that I could get my Kaleido plates to go through this, which is going to mean that I can actually get two going at the same time. For the bigger dies, I love to design bigger dies. I'm going to take a simple one. And this is one of the things, and most people, I'm going to be honest, when you watch people doing demos on TV of the die cutting machines, one of the things they'll do, and one of the first things that they'll actually do is, they will take a really detailed, intricate die, and they will stick it in the middle and cut it through and show you how lovely it cuts, yeah? And to me, that's almost a bit of a misnomer, because with a brand new machine, you know, it's going to cut that lovely detail in the middle. This was the test for me. This is one of my dies. This is the Advent Pop Box. I've done this quite a bit, but what I need in a machine is not only for it to cut and cut beautifully, I need it to react against all the different things on the die. So I'm going to cut this and I'll explain to you, because dies these days don't just cut.
No.
Dies these days, they cut, they emboss, they perforate, they deboss, they add pattern. The technology has moved. So the pressure on the machine has got to be right to make sure that with the right die, it cuts. Okay, so again, 350 GSM card. Can you see that's cut beautifully cleanly? But you would expect it to, because it's a basic shape. But you've seen me cut detailed. But if you look at this now, without embossing or anything, just cutting it, there is every emboss and fold line. Look at the perforations. So this is cut, perforated, and embossed, so that I can do, without using a bone folder, this. Fold. This is 350 card, by the way, again, because I don't believe in making it easy. So, to do this, can you imagine? Now, normally, in a process of, if you were to buy these pre-done, they would go through 3 processes, because one machine would cut them with a big, massive die commercially, and then they would have to run through a second machine to do the perforating and to do the embossing for the fold lines. So if you notice on this, I haven't used a single tool. I've not had to use a bone folder or anything.
And we have got, by the way, this die that John's using is at the bottom of your screen. It is a John Next Door Advent Pop Box and the Advent numbers. 26 dies in total. You're getting 2 sets. Boom, John!
Yeah, but that to me is the test.
Okay.
Yeah? I mean, I did it last night, and I can do it again, where I'll take a detailed die. I'll take, and this is a good sign, actually. Where did I put it? Honestly.
Just while we're doing this, can I ask a question? This is from, and thank you for all the messages coming in. I'll try and get through these. So Kelly is asking, good morning all. Please could you tell me if this machine would cut mylar to make stencils? That's a good question. It's a really good question. I hadn't thought of that. So would it cut mylar to cut stencils?
Right. Mylar cutting, one of the misnomers on die cutting is that it's the strength of the machine that cuts. It isn't. It's how the die's designed and the material that you're using.
Well, okay, wait, you're blowing my mind a little bit. Because, you know, you hear machines and they say this is the most powerful machine. So it's not the strength of the machine.
It's not the strength. The machine has to have a level of strength. Of
course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had an electronic die cutting machine
Yeah.
that I bought at the NEC 5 years ago, maybe. And I'm going to be perfectly honest here. I can't even claim it got recycled. I got that annoyed with it, it went in the bin.
Ooh.
Because it didn't have
you must be furious
the pressure
with it.
I was, and
Oh,
it had
God.
so many different plates and combinations and shims that you had to get right.
Yeah.
It was so complex to use. You know, the pressure on this machine is great. I've got a piece of Mylar here, so we'll try it.
Okay.
This is very thick Mylar that I nicked out of Sam's.
Sam's going to wake up this
box.
morning. Where's my Mylar? Oh,
Well, he might not notice, but hopefully he won't watch the show. And I've got a really simple thing die.
Okay.
Okay, so
Just before we put that through, John, do you mind if I just hold up
Yeah.
this dice? Because we're really busy for these as well. So this was the die you just saw John make that box. So this is the Advent Pop box and your Advent numbers. $29.98 is your price there. Come on. Look at this is amazing what you can do as Christmas, and just works perfectly with our fantastic Couture's Creation die cutting machine. But look at you kidding me? $26.98 as a Freedom member. $26.98 for what? For both of those? No way. Show me the full price
you're
again.
actually talking an A4 and an A5 sheet of metal for that.
That's ridiculous. Let's just have a look. I'm going to show you the box die by itself. That's at the bottom of your screen. That should be $29.99 just by itself. $26.98, so you're paying less than you would for that, and you get no wonder that's flying.
Yeah.
I can't believe that price for an A4
It actually
die.
completely sold out as well when we launched it. This is a reorder.
Okay,
so we've got these as a reorder to go on a
That's an
3D
absolute
Christmas show
bargain.
later in the year.
Treat yourself, and also if you do add this into your order with your machine, then obviously you can split the price via Flexi as well. Okay, John.
So I've got here simplest shape, one of mine. This is in the Advent Pop box. So this is actually included, this little stag. You get one going, let's do both, come on. You get one going left, one going right, because you know it annoys me when things only go in one direction.
Of course it does, yeah.
This is just onto 300 GSM mixed media card with one of the dies that comes in the set, and this is quite an important point. If you look at the dies that come with the machine, they aren't random dies that Couture Creation have got left in the warehouse to clear and bundled in. These were made to go with this machine.
Well, that's good.
But also, if you look at them, look at the level of detail on them. If they were not confident in this machine, would they have included the first dies you're going to try? If you've never die cut before, you buy this machine and the first dies you're going to cut are those, and I know my die cutting.
I mean, look at that. Look at that.
You would not put those in if you were not 100% confident on the machine.
John, you're speaking like a designer, because that's
Well,
so
it's
true.
Well, I know it.
Absolutely
You know,
true.
So here we go. Can you see here? Right. I've tried to cut a mixed media card.
Yeah.
Okay. And I haven't got my metal shim in.
Right.
Because
So you need
my
your metal
machine's
shim for
slightly
the mixed
older.
media, yeah.
So I'm just going to put my metal shim in.
Yeah.
Put it back on, and then I'm going to show you, because I'd rather say what happens. There's my Mylar, look.
Okay.
It's not gone through.
Right.
And why is it not gone through? It's because this is too thick and isn't fibrous.
Right.
So what I'm going to do in a second is I'm going to show you how we can
Cut that.
or
Okay.
how we can get close to cutting it. So let's just put this one through, and this is the bit I love. So don't reverse too early.
Yeah.
Your rollers are here. If you put your hand in, you won't feel your rollers.
Oh, okay.
You can't get to the rollers because they're actually here.
Ah, that's interesting.
The highest body part of the machine where the most pressure is. They're not here in the middle or here.
It's
literally.
very well
You cannot
designed.
feel. I can't.
Yeah.
I can't get anywhere near the rollers. So I've added the metal shim in, which has increased the amount of pressure in the machine. There you go.
Perfect.
But if I want to cut Mylar is a difficult stencil, is a difficult product to cut, because when we talk about die cutting, we're actually getting it slightly wrong.
It's not cutting, it's compressing.
It's not cutting. This is a die, again, one of mine, so watch. Don't do this at home.
Yeah.
If dies were sharp, I would be bleeding.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Right.
Dies have got a fine line, and the pressure in the machine forces the paper, and basically over the machine it forces the fibres to separate. So it compresses and makes them separate.
But no fibres in Mylar though.
There's no fibres in Mylar.
Yeah.
So how do we make those separate?
Yeah.
Well, what we do is we cut them onto a metal shim.
Okay.
Now, let's get the right, where's my B plate? Now, these are probably far too fine
Just talk
to
us
do
through
it.
this sandwich you have there.
So I've now got base plate,
Yeah.
C plate, metal shim, Mylar and dies,
Okay.
B plate on top, yeah?
Done, yeah.
So we run that through, okay? If that doesn't cut, and to be honest, I'm asking this to do something very, very difficult,
Yeah.
and I genuinely am,
Well, this is-
because I'm asking it to cut Mylar when it's not sharp.
Yeah.
You know, basic shapes will cut. I could cut that circle out really easily.
Yeah.
That's not a problem. These are very difficult. But can you see here, now, it's starting to go through. So what do you think I would do to try and get that to go right?
Add
Is
another
to
shim?
basically
Add a shim?
add the pressure, add a
Yeah.
shim. And this is the other thing I love. Because of the wide mouth of the machine,
Yeah.
you're not limited to, you know when they're quite a tight, you can't get much through.
Yeah.
So actually used to find it quite hard to shim it.
Yeah.
Because, and obviously the plates would banana a little bit sometimes, with the amount in there. Because of the wide mouth, it means that if that doesn't work, I could add another shim.
Of course, yeah.
And the machine itself, because it doesn't work on sensors here, the sensors are on the roller. So a lot of the time you'll put it through and it'll start to go through and it'll get stuck.
Yeah.
Because the sensors have said yes. The sensors here are on the roller, so if it finds it's been pushed too far, it will say no and push it back out. And that means that it's so hard to break it. So there we go. So this is about as close as I'm going to get. I wish I'd got thinner thinner Mylar, but Sam doesn't go cheap Mylar. But can you see here?
And I do want to point out, and we're not just saying this, that Mylar, if you give it a flick,
Look.
that is very, very thick Mylar.
Yeah, that's quite tough. But what I can do is a basic shape. So if you want to make stencils out of Mylar and you want to use a decent one,
Yeah.
use a basic shape rather
Right.
than a detail. I'm going to shim it because I know it will need that. I'm going to cut it onto the metal plate because I know there are no fibres to separate. And I'm going to run it through. So we know that detailed dies like that are too much.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad we tried it rather than someone
Well, I knew
else
this
at
would
home.
be the outcome,
Yeah.
but I'd rather, because it's no good me saying to you, what I could do to you, to answer your question, to be honest, and I'm sorry, I've forgotten the lady's name.
Oh, that was Kelly.
Kelly. What I could do is this, Kelly, and go, look, there, yes, of course, you can make a stencil out of Mylar,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, and answer your question. You get it home, and you take something like that, and you go, but John, you said to me that I could make a stencil out of Mylar.
Yeah.
Yeah, a basic, simple shape on a thick Mylar like this,
Yeah.
shimmed onto the metal, not a problem. A really detailed shape where it's less than a millimetre.
So slightly thinner Mylar, maybe.
You're not going to have a hope, even
Yeah.
on a thinner Mylar, to
Yeah.
be honest.
Okay.
You know, because there's no fibres in there. But I'd rather show you that and go, think that. So remember and think, yes, first time, not even with shims on a third time.
I've got a couple more emails. I'm going to get to these in just a moment, but just to get rid of some housekeeping, we are busy for a monthly mega deal, and we really should be. The pink option, once it's gone, it's gone. Monthly mega deal, and we are approaching 40% of our stock. We have a huge amount, well, had a huge amount of stock, but it is starting to dwindle. Monthly mega deal. It's meant to last the full month. So this is your Go Power and Emboss as a die cutting machine. Let's just talk through some of the specifics. Now, firstly, you can see this design way, this beautiful pink, is exclusive to the craft store. You will not be able to find this anywhere else. You can only get it with us right now. So if you want to get hold of this, details are on your screen. You will be getting 30 dies, 2 embossing folders, and all the plates. So all the plates here that you need, your base plate, your A, your B, you're also getting your metal shim in there too, and your embossing mat. But for me, because die cutting machines, as a crafter, I get excited. Like I think so many crafts at home, we get excited about a die cutting machine because it's, if you are a paper crafter and you love your dies, it's something that you use day in, day out. If you are starting to struggle, if you have a machine, and I'm not knocking hand crank machines because obviously I love the Kaleido, but there are some machines, and I've personally worked with a few larger machines, and in the past had to...
manual, they tend to lose tension somehow.
And I find, you know, when you do it,
so hard on some of the dies, they're so hard to go over.
I go to the gym. I remember a while ago, so we used to do, especially when I first started here, we used to. I don't do as many demos now, but we used to do a lot of demos. So I remember working one machine. I'm thinking, I train in the gym and I'm struggling.
Yeah.
So with this machine, it will make your life easier. Not knocking, there is place for your hand crank machines, but where this machine excels, it is a catch-all. It doesn't matter what die you're going to put through because it will take it. You know, some machines, electric machine will say, well, it's a great machine, but you can only use thin dies with this. Or this machine is only A5. Being an A4 machine, it doesn't matter the size. So anywhere from A4 downwards, it will take all dies. And it's a point, I'm just got to cover ourselves, because John was saying there was a time where there was a run of manufacturers making 12 by 12 dies. I've never seen them here at the craft store. You probably haven't seen them either, or you might have them in stash. This won't take a 12 by 12, but apart from those 12 by 12s, any other die this will take. So this is a machine, you do not need to switch between your machines. You're running it through, it is an absolute workhorse. But I want to put the stress on work. This really will work, and it's something that John would not, and John's got a lot of integrity, he will not stand in front of you. And actually the biggest sell I could say to you right now on this, for me, the reason why if I was sat at home, I would believe in this machine is because I believe in John. I've worked with John for a number of years. He would not stand here and endorse a machine if he didn't believe in it. This is the only die cutting machine John has ever endorsed. The only one. And he's tried all of them, and John really has tried all of the machines with this. Little points, and just for me feeling more comfortable as a presenter, and the first thing, and I know I've said this a couple of times this hour, but really quickly, the fact that the plates, they didn't bend within. I know I've talked to people on other die cutting machines on the market, really warping and bending the plates very quickly. So you're having to constantly buying new plates, or people telling you how to straighten up plates. Don't have that with this. Also, with the metal, and this is the last thing I'll leave you on this, that metal's not going to cut you. And the only reason I'm pushing that so much is it was quite shocking. I was presenting a show about 3 weeks ago with a guest, and she really did cut her hand quite badly, to the point that we thought at one point we're going to have to cut the hour short. No way should a machine be brought to market where you're cutting yourself like that. It's just, I'm baffled why that would happen. But anyway, you do not get that with this machine. So we are approaching 40% of the stock. You are saving £10. $46.66 is your price, but it is a machine that will tackle any die, and that is the real key to this, so you're not having to switch between the two. We do have another option. This is your gold. So gold option, over 30% of the stock for your gold, and I'll just lean that forward and show you that is a gold. So the only difference is this beautiful sort of aesthetic design, whether you want to go for the gold or the pink. Now, just very, very quickly, a die set that has proved extremely popular is this combination. So this is designed by John. It is your John Next Door Advent pot box and your Advent numbers. And I will whip that around and show you. This is what you can be making. But check this out if you're a Freedom member. Look at when you see the price as a Freedom member, £26 and some change. $26.98. Normally, just this one alone, and that is an A4 die, would be $29.99. So you're paying less than you would for one die, and you're getting the numbers in there as well. I've got to be really quick and get back to John because I know time's running out. John, we've got a couple of emails.
Cool.
Let's see. Okay, now there's one email from Carol. Carol, I will try and get this to you because we've got another show at 12, so we'll try and answer that at 12 because we're not going to have time now. So I apologise, Carol, but if you tune back at 12, I promise to read out your email and we'll try and go through that. Sue's asking, can you ask John if he can cut through the new Tim Holtz cut and emboss Bosslitz stencils, please? Sizzix, please.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, basically, and I'll explain why very, very quickly.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Okay. If you have got one of the Sizzix machines, okay, Sizzix machine has a base plate and two clear plates.
Yeah.
They're the same size.
Oh, perfect.
It's an industry standard.
Yeah.
There are only a few of the other machines that stepped away from that industry standard. That's why the Kaleido plates fit through. So anything that you can do in those machines, you can do in this one.
Perfect.
Because it's exactly the same. So yeah, it would be, I mean, I haven't got them and I haven't seen them, but I'm 100% confident to say yes, because I know if it'll go through a big shot, it'll go through that.
Perfect.
Because it's the same, and all you do is alter your plate combination.
Nice. In fact, as a machine, you've had yours for 2.5 years.
Yeah.
2.5 years, and I tell you what, John you use yours day in, day out. So I wouldn't imagine many other people would use their die cutting machines more than you.
I don't think so, to be perfectly honest. I genuinely don't. I literally hammer my machine. What I'm just running through now is the pot box again, but I'm doing this in the double-sided glitter card because, as I said, I didn't want this show to be easy.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is it cut in a normal one.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Right.
This is it cut down onto the metal shim, and this is the difference.
Yeah.
The metal shim is safe to use.
Yeah.
The metal shim will take all of this cutting, but when you cut the double-sided glitter card, which was designed for electronic machines, this wasn't designed for die cutting at all.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Basically there.
Oh wow. And we have got the glitter card on the show,
the
by the way.
pressure on the machine. Can
John,
you see?
that is cut like a dream.
It has embossed every line and all those, if I wanted to, because they're perforations, see? Even those perforations on double-sided glitter card.
John,
that, to me, is the difference.
You're an absolute star. I've really enjoyed it, and you've won me over. I mean, it's such a good machine. Carol, I'm so sorry we didn't get to read your email out, but I promise, I give you my word, at 12 o'clock, we will be reading your email, and we'll go through that and what you are. So I promise, Carol, you have my word. Thank you so much for joining us. If you're on the fence, if you're thinking about treating yourself, maybe upgrading, or you're new to crafting, and this is your first foray into a die-cut machine, you can't go wrong here, John, because this is a machine that you won't outgrow.
It is a machine you won't outgrow, and it's not been inflated with loads of extra things added in. You get what you need.
And it does it well.
And it does the job and does it well.
Thank you so much, buddy.
Thank you.
Thank you for your company. John will be back at 12. We're going to be putting it through its paces.